welcome back to the ROH Show with Kirsty Graham. Today I'm going to be reviewing 16th anniversary pay-per-view, and oh my god, was this an incredible pay-per-view. I don't know how they keep getting better because they've had so much happen in the last, I want to say 3 weeks, and it's just consistently, I keep going, it's not going to get better. There's no way that we're going to top that Manhattan Mayhem main event this entire pay-per-view. For different reasons in every match that I'll get into, it just seemed to get better and better, and every time I was like, that's match of the night, it's not going to get any better. Oh god, did it. But yeah, I've got 7 pages of notes, maybe 8, so I'll just try and get into this and not blab too much as usual, because you know me guys, I'll just blab and blab and blab. So it starts off with these really cute memory throwbacks from people who work at ROH. They had Colt do one, they had Kaz do one. Colt's, I think, was his favourite 16th anniversary moment was Joe versus Kabashi, which, yeah, I went back and watched that match after it because I was like, I need to refresh my memory of that match. Somebody brought up Christopher Daniels still winning, eventually winning after 15 years, winning the ROH title, which was a really sweet moment. I can't remember who, but somebody brought up the Punk Joe trilogy. I think it might have actually been Ian Riccaboni. But yeah, that's how it started off, and I'm a sentimental person, and I was just like, oh, so cute. But yeah, the actual pay-per-view started off with Bully coming out. Bully came out and he was getting everybody hyped, getting ROH chants. He just seems really comfortable and happy in his role at ROH at the moment. But he came out and he was like, you're going to get your dollar's worth, this isn't sports entertainment. And I was like, should you be saying that considering you're getting into the Hall of Fame next month? I don't know, but it's Bully. Yeah, everybody hyped up, said that he was going to be watching the matches, making sure nothing screwy happened, and boy did he. Yeah, so your first match was Takahashi versus Flip Gordon, and this was just fun. It was a great opening to a really great night. It got everybody hyped. Everybody was so happy just off the bat because Flip came out, and everybody, Flip just makes, even his music makes me happy, but he's just so bubbly. And then obviously out comes Takahashi, he has Daryl with him, everything's great. It was a really sleek match. The two of them work really well together. This was also playing off of the fact that Flip won the match at On Horizon, the 3-way. And on Twitter, I think it was, Takahashi had said that he didn't do 3-way matches, so he didn't understand them or something comical anyway. So this match was made so that they had a 2-on-1. There was a point where Takahashi has Daryl and he lariats him with it, and people were like, is that a disqualification because it's a stuffed animal? And Flip sold it. Flip was on the deck doing his thing. It was great. To which then, oh god, was it Todd Sinclair? I think it was Todd Sinclair for this match. And he's taking Daryl, he throws it out, and one of the audience members in the front row catches Daryl and just holds him for the remainder of the match. I hope that he got Daryl back. Didn't see, but this crowd member is just holding Daryl for the entire thing. And yeah, it ended with Takahashi won with his time bomb. It was really pretty. It was one of those ones that were kind of snappy and came out of nowhere, and it was beautiful because he before that he'd kind of been time bomb, and he missed it because of course you're going to miss it, you've just announced it. Only Marty gets away with that. But yeah, time bomb, he got the pin, so technically he was right. He doesn't like 3-ways, but he can win in singles matches. But it was just fun, and I get they work really well together. Like, I'd quite happily see another match from the two of them, or with other people put in, because that's how ROH typically do, and New Japan for that matter. But yeah, it wasn't a long match or anything. It was just like, it was an opener and it was fun, and I really enjoyed it. So then it went straight on to match 2, which was Marty Scurll versus Punishment Martinez. Marty came straight out the gate before the bell rang, just started getting after him. Big mistake, he's a big guy. And then, like, this was a really fast-paced match, which for Punishment, like, over the last few months, I'd say, he's kind of really started to set him up how much he does in a match, because I'd say, like, last year-ish, he was your big guy, and does it really well, but there was nothing flashy, which was fine, because he's like 7 foot, I think. Very tall man, and it works for him in the style and whatever. But he comes out and does that, it's Grand Metalik that like does it mostly, and Sami Zayn obviously, where somebody's on the outside and they run up and do the step up flip over the top rope, and it's impressive anyway when anybody does that well, but to see a 7 foot man just, I was a little bit shook, and it wasn't even as if that was like his high spot of the match, because there was a lot of this. It was a really intense, fast-paced match. Like, both of them wanted to win this feud, because Marty had obviously pissed off Punishment Martinez by coming out and trying to, like, not even become his friend, but like being like, I think you're going to win your title opportunity, and if you do, I want the first match. And Punishment was like, nope. And that's kind of what started the entire thing off, because he chokeslammed him, if I believe, on, I think it was just an ROH TV episode a couple of months back. But within the first couple of, like, say the first 5, maybe 10 at a push, Marty's eye here get busted open. And they cleaned him up, they checked him and stuff, obviously, like, he rolled out. But it looked, for the rest of the match, because they'd wiped it, it looked as if he had this, like, red eyeliner on. And it was just weird. But that wasn't, like, that was not the last of Hard Blood for the night. There was quite a few bust opens, which is weird for an ROH show. Usually, like, here and there an accident will happen, but I think 3 times, maybe 4. People get busted open not last night, at the weekend. So, yeah, but his eye was busted open. I think it was from the senton that Punishment gave him. But yeah, like, really fast pace. At one point, Marty was on the outside where the barricades, like, meet, and Punishment just runs and clears not only the top turnbuckle, but the post, and, like, flips over. And I'm pretty sure he, I'm pretty sure he, like, banged his, I remember thinking, like, he'd, like, banged his elbow or something off of a barricade, and I was like, that just looked nasty. The poor people. But again, Punishment Martinez doing flips to me is just, it's crazy. Because of how big he is, you just don't expect it. WWE has trained me to believe that big guys don't do any air type things. I was going to say aerodynamic, but that's not the word I'm looking for, so I'll move on. So then there was a table set up on the outside. Marty goes and they're fighting. He puts Marty on the table, and then he does again another, like, step up from the second rope over into this back senton through the table, and Marty moves like he Undertaker WrestleMania Shane moved the fuck out of the way of that, and you could physically hear, because the camera zoomed in on Punishment, and you could hear him just in pain, and I was like, that looked amazing, but I don't want to be him waking up tomorrow, because that's going to hurt like a bitch. Then Marty goes under the ring, and he's had a bag for a while with powder in it, and I think it was on the last ROH show. He's been throwing it in people's faces, and it's backfired a few times. It's ended up in his face, and he's lost matches because of it. So he takes out the bag, and the ref notices, and he's like, it's nothing, because he's put it down his underwear. trunks, not his underwear. And he fakes it, so he takes out the powder once they're in the middle of the ring and pretends he's blown it, and that kind of distracts punishment. But there's no powder, like he doesn't cheat to do it, and then he like kicks him. Was it a kick or a low blow? Anyway, there was like a kick, and then he rolls him up, schoolboy roll up, and 1, 2, 3, Marty wins. And I have to say, when I seen this matchup, I was like, oh, poor Marty's not winning, because they've been so protective of Punishment Martinez. He's lost very rarely. So I know it was a weird finish with a distraction and possibly, I'm sure he kicked him, but like it looked like a low blow. I can't quite remember. Anyway, Marty wins and he's all proud of himself, and it was great. His whole bird attire looked fabulous. But it was a really nice match, and what I really liked about it was it wasn't the match I was expecting. I was expecting a slow pace, quote unquote, big guy match with Marty losing, and we had an intense, fast paced match with Marty winning. So it was great. The crowd, once Marty was leaving, started chanting "Next World Champ," and I have to say I agree. I really would love to see Marty at some point this year win the ROH World title, because I think he's earned it over the last year or so that he's actually been in ROH. He's consistently just been great, and like this, it doesn't matter who you put him with, Marty will have a really good match. So yeah, and so match 3 was Kenny King and Silas Young, the rematch for the ROH World TV title. Beer City Bruiser came out, and I was like, Bully Ray had said that you weren't to come out, but he came out with them and then just like fist bumped him, said some stuff, and then left, and I was like, okay. And then when Kenny came out, it was his hometown, so it was kind of cute. Everybody was like, yay, Kenny. But his daughter was there with a Team Kenny t-shirt on, and I thought that was really nice. Like, his daughter gets to see him wrestle and gets to see him as champion wrestle, so I thought that was really sweet. They started off again wrestling a really technical based match, and I know I said it in the last one, but in my head, Silas is a brawler, and don't get me wrong, I love me some brawling, especially when it's done really good, but they started off having a technical wrestling match, and again, I don't expect that out of Silas. I don't even really expect that as much out of Kenny. So see, the way this feud's been going between these two, it's been really nice, because it's almost as if like Kenny's went, I'm not a brawler, and Silas has went, well, I'm not really like a high flyer of sorts. So they've kind of met in this middle ground where the two of them have went, well, we're both kind of technical wrestlers, even though we don't show it as much. So that was lovely. They took out a cameraman by mistake at one point. Well, I don't know if it was mistake or planned, but some poor cameraman get took out while I think Kenny was doing like a suicide dive, and the poor cameraman clocked it. And then there was a guy, for some reason, well, I know why, it's his thing, but Kenny King shouted selfie time, because he's the selfie king, and goes to take the same guy who had Daryl in the first match, goes to take a selfie with this guy, because he was the first one to get his phone out. I think he had it in his hand. He goes to take silence and up and ruins it, everybody boos, and then Kenny gets him in like a headlock, and like just holds him there while they take this selfie, and that fan got way more than his money's worth. Like, to have that picture and be like, oh, this was part of 16th anniversary, like, go me, that's really cool. I like when wrestlers do that, even if, as Colt was screaming on commentary, it doesn't make sense to stop a match to take a selfie with somebody, but it's cool, it's wrestling, we can do fun things. Silas kept arguing with the ref because he kept saying that the ref was screwing him when he was only getting 2 counts, and off of the 2 count, Kenny gets a royal flush. Sorry, I totally spaced out for a second there. Kenny gets a royal flush, gets the roll up pin for it, and Kenny retains. but the story that they were telling evidently from like the last quarter of the match was Silas was too busy arguing with a referee about how he didn't get that pin, that he left the opportunity open for Kenny to actually do something and retain. I don't know if this is the end of their feud or if they'll come back to it at some point, but the two of them seem to have really clean matches together, and it's one of those matches that you could just throw on a show if you need be, and it'll work. Like, I don't necessarily get hyped all the time about both of them, but now after the last 2 or 3 matches they've had together, whether it be like in tag teams or whether it was on their own, I really enjoy them together. So they've technically had 3 matches, but only 2 of them were singles, so we'll see how it goes. And then, out of the blue, Kenny's celebrating, having a good time, and out walks none other than Austin fucking Aries with all 4 of his belts. And he's all like, "Hi Kenny, we've got history." "We know you do. God, do we know that you do." And he's like, "I'm not going to just like talk or bullshit. I'm collecting titles, and that's the only title in ROH that I haven't held, so I want a match." And Kenny's like, "I've just had a match, like, get in line." But the crowd popped so hard for Austin Aries coming back, and I don't know, obviously he's got 4 other belts, I don't think he's going to be back like full-time ROH, but knowing that he's going to be at ROH and having another match with Kenny King, I'm so here for that. Like, I love Austin Aries, and I feel as if since he left WWE and he's come back to the Indies, all he's done is come out and be like, "You wouldn't give me that cruiserweight belt, and actually when I've got a belt I can put people over, I can make matches, I can do all of this stuff." And he's come out with a chip on his shoulder, and I've always thought that Austin Aries with a chip on his shoulder is the best version of Austin Aries, and he's just come out since he's left and stormed it everywhere he's went, and I'm just so excited that he's going to be back in ROH, because let's be honest, it's my favourite promotion. So but yeah, he was, the quote that I wrote down is, "I'm never done collecting belts," and then he laid all 4 of them in a pile on top of each other. It just looked crazy. But yeah, so happy to see Austin Aries back. So then it went on to match 4. The nice thing about this pay-per-view was there wasn't a lot of like on Manhattan Mayhem, I know again it wasn't a pay-per-view, but they had those weird like talking segments that the ROH crowd just didn't seem to be there for, but they were there when Austin came out. But it was a challenge, it's different. But match 4 was Hung Bucks, Adam Page and Matt and Nick Jackson versus SoCal Uncensored, and holy hell, holy Jesus, this freaking match, I have a page and a half just on notes on this alone. Again, it was for the 6-man tag titles, obviously, but it was a street fight. So right off the bat, the SoCal came in first, and then the Bucks came in, and they were on like the outside of the opposite side of the ramp side of the ring, and the Bucks come in, they're flexing, so is Adam Page, and then they just dive straight in, no fucking about, because this has been going on for so long, and every time that any, like, even if it's just the Bucks and Kaz and Daniels, every time those 4 people are in a ring, it's just magic. And then you add other people in, like, regardless of who, it's always, oh, but it was a street fight, and everybody just knew, like, I half expected this to either be the second last match or the last match, because it was a street fight. I was like, they're just gonna own everything, but it was only match 4. But yeah, so they come in, and I've literally wrote all the spots, because in the first 10 seconds, it felt like the first few minutes, it was just, I couldn't write fast enough to actually keep up with what was happening. Matt done his head scissors thing. This was one of my favourite spots straight off the bat. Was it SoCal? I can't remember which member of SoCal it was, but Matt done his head scissors thing, and then Nick done his done the drop kick, and that's a standard spot for a Bucks match. But then on the other side was Adam, I don't know how he got there, because he had been at the opposite side of the ring 3 seconds prior, so he must have ran like fucking Usain Bolt or something, got round there, caught whoever it was, and then turned and power bombed him onto the ramp. And I was like, so this is how we're doing this today, guys. It was so pretty though. Kaz ended up bleeding from his head after what, I don't think it was after the shooting star press, because that doesn't really make sense, but Kaz ended up bleeding from his head at one point quite early on. Again, he got checked out, they kind of cleaned him up a bit, but like they allowed the match to continue. And I like that in ROH they won't just automatically stop a match, they'll like take feedback from the doctor, they'll take feedback from the wrestler themselves, and they'll let it go on a little bit to see if the blood like stops pouring. Because let's be honest, after the Jimmy Jacobs entrance moment, there's never going to be more blood than that, so we're cool. But yeah, he got checked over, everything was fine. There was another spot where Nick was like on a chair for some, I can't even remember, like, there was so much that happened. Like if you were watching one set of people, something else was happening over here. There was no way to keep track of everything. But he was sitting on a chair, and then Nick ended up with a kendo stick to his nether regions, and that can go wrong so quickly. Like and then SoCal started like too sweeting, and they were standing in front of them and they were doing the suck it thing. And I think one of my favourite quotes from commentary last night was from Colt, and he says, "It's illegal if they do it," talking about the Bucks. "They'll go to court and get sued, and trust me, nobody wants that." And I was like, God damn it, Colt. God damn, just don't. The sass from Colt the entire night was beautiful. I love him, Colt Cabana and Ian Riccaboni together on commentary. They feed off each other so well. And then at one point, people just started literally lifting, not even using a trash can as a weighting, but just started throwing them at each other. And then, like, I know the trash cans are made out of really soft metal, but at one point, I think it was Nick, had a bin lid, or either Nick was the one, but somebody just got bashed in the head like 7 times in a row with this, like, trash can lid. Sorry, guys. But, like, I'm still not here. Like, for anybody that doesn't know, I work in care, and I work a lot around with people like brain injuries and stuff, so I can see how quickly something as small as that can go really bad. So whenever I see an open, like an unprotected headshot, my stomach just drops. It's so to see them like several one after the other, I was like, no. And I know, again, it's like thin as hell and not really like a proper like trash can, but it just makes me uneasy. It really does. And then from there, somebody got Adam Page's belt that was studded and started whipping everybody. And then again, there was a chair closed up, and like they threw the chair and it hit. Was that Nick? I think that was Daniel's Nick. Like straight to his face. There was no arms up, there was no nothing. I was like, guys, we know what this does. Can we? Yous are so good. Everything else round about this was so good. You just don't need that moment to take it there. I know it was a blood feud almost. I know it had been hyped for so long, but for me personally, it just sits really, really wrong. I don't like autumn headshots. We know too much now. This isn't back when we didn't know anything and it was cool and it was like part of paying your dues and stuff that you got your bell rung. No, it's dangerous. Concussions, people. will lead to several very wrong things with you. Don't do it. I literally wrote heave or bulk for whatever. Let it just. So then I'll move on because I could rant about this all day, and I have on podcast before. I don't want to. So then they moved. There's 3 guardrails set up, like 2 like this, 1 like this, and it was done by SoCal. And I was like, somebody's gonna die, because obviously with the guardrails there's the bits that kick up, and I was like, somebody's knee or leg or ankle or something's gonna I'm like, yeah. So then, but again, as always, they'll set things up and then just leave you hanging there for a while, like what's going to happen there. I think they do it so that you almost forget that it's there, and then when it happens you're more like, oh, that happened, oh shit. There was, Matt went up on so on the other side, well, this has been set up over here, Matt goes up and stands on the very top part of a ladder, Kirsty, of a ladder, does a death drop, he's not dancing, he does an elbow drop from the top of the ladder, people are chanting, please don't die, and then out of fucking nowhere, Shane Taylor appears to just ruin everything, and he just starts fucking everything up. They zip tie Adam Page to the post, so Adam's there, can't do nothing, he's doing all this, but he's like legitly, you heard them pull the little zip tie so that you could hear the zipping noise. And then so they're all in the ring, and there's both the Bucks, and I think it was both Kaz and Daniels were choking them out like kendo sticks. And of course, after that, like getting choked out with a kendo stick, Matt Jackson taps, and people seemed legitimately pissed about this because of the interference from Shane Taylor. But it also meant, like, I didn't realise this until Ian Ricciabani said it, that it now means that Christopher Daniels is your first and only ROH Grand Slam champion, and for it to take 16 years for them to crown a Grand Slam is fucking awesome. And considering he only won the ROH title last year, like the world title, it's so cool because he was there day one, sound like the Usos, but he was there on the first night for the first main event, and he's like, I know he went other places, but he's technically like still there now. So for me, that was a really nice moment, like for him to get that, even if it was all heelish and choking people out with kendo sticks and headshots. Yeah, it was really, really nice that he got that, and I hope that he feels like he achieved something with it as well. Like obviously he will, but like it made me feel nice. Vinny Marcella and TK O'Ryan then came out to attack the Young Bucks. Adam's still tied while all this is happening, and then Bully comes out and just grabs a random trash can and just starts throwing things, and I'm like, you're an enforcer, you're I don't think this is, but it was fucking awesome. I'm not even going to lie, I really liked it. He chased them out. Obviously that was to lead into, it was to play into the story of the next match as to why the Bucks and Adam Page weren't there. They get Adam untied, eventually they go on, and that was to play into them. I think that was to play into the next match, which is Cody's match, as to why the Bucks weren't there, because they had been seriously fucked up. So we got into match 5, and that is Matt Tavern versus Cody. Cody came out with Buddy the Bear and Brandy. Obviously he was coming out and being like, kiss the ring bitch. Like, Matt Tavern again in the last 6 months, I want to say, has completely changed my mind about how good I think he is. And I like, mostly since the Kingdom like started, because he had a little weird period for like a couple of weeks to a month, and then slowly since then I've been like, okay, I see you. And he's quite clearly the best in that group, I think, personally anyway, like overall, like wrestling, talking, character, all of that jazz, which is why he's the leader, evidently. but he had got so far under Cody's skin, and Cody was trying to pretend that he wasn't annoyed, but it was so obvious. It was Cody had went over to the bear and gave it Eskimo kisses on the snout. One of these. It was. I shouldn't have thought it was as cute as it was, but I'm a girl and there was a giant bear and somebody giving it Eskimo kisses. Forgive me, but it was cute as hell. And then Cody's losing it because, again, it was one of these matches that started for Cody but didn't really start. Cody is losing his mind because Matt tries to flirt with Brandy and he's like, oh hell no, that's my wife. At one point, Buddy tried to get into the ring and I've literally wrote, who's in that suit? Because the way to get in, it was obvious that it was a wrestler that was under there. And I guessed that it would be probably one of the guys just out there so that it's not some random non-wrestling person. But like there was a few times like when he was trying to sneak into the ring and then the ref caught him and then he was sliding back out, and it's this giant oversized bear with an all-in t-shirt on and he's trying to like tell Brandy to go around and do things. It was really cool. Cody, they'd done a move where it was meant to have screwed up Cody's back and Cody sold it so beautifully because he was doing stuff that we all know that he can do perfectly, but was doing them almost, but you could like, it was almost sloppy, but you could tell that he was doing it on purpose, if that makes sense. It wasn't like a sloppy match where it was supposed to be clean. It was intentionally bad. Not even bad, it was really good, but like the storytelling, like Cody gets it. Cody gets that as much as it's about wrestling, and you have to be a really good wrestler, you have to be able to tell those stories too, or it's just, there's no point. But Buddy tries to throw in a chair at one point and he gets caught off of the ref, and then this was a relatively quick match because I think the entire point of the match was the ending of it. I'd say it was about 15 minutes, so there was some really nice wrestling. There was a one point where Matt Tavern goes up to do his King of the Ring kick off one side and Cody goes up for his beautiful disaster. They both kind of collided, and I know it's just a variation of the two people drop kick, but it's a variation and it was really nice. Tavern comes in with his cane at one point because the ref's distracted and he like hits Cody with it, and then he hits Cody with a crossroads, and I was like, oh, he's won it. Like I should always say I expected Cody to win the match coming into it, so when he hit the crossroads I was like, oh no, oh damn. But Cody kicks out. There's a crossbody that takes out the ref. Have I wrote that down right? Aye. There's a crossbody that takes out the ref, and then they both go to kick each other in the face, and they're both down, and then Vinny and TKO come out again after what had just happened with the Bucks, and they were holding Cody up, and this was obviously where this whole storyline started with Cody in the Kingdom, was they held him up like almost as if he was sitting in a chair, the two of them, and low blowed him. And they do it again, but when they put Cody down, Cody pulls out a cup from down his pants, obviously being like, ha, I came prepared this time, guys. And then Bully comes out again with a chair this time and chases away Vinny and TKO, but leaves Bear and Brandy, who had been interfering for most of the match. Cody gets a crossroads off of that and gets his ring back. He looks ecstatically happy because he's mildly crazy. And then Colt says, oh, there's Cody with his wife and his bear, but there was such an inflection on it, like you could hear him questioning it, and I was like, that's It's not the sentence you want to be asking, Colt. Then they were talking about the fact that Cody never received his rematch, but they think that he's just biding his time waiting for the right moment. And yeah. So Cody goes up, Brandy and the bear get in, he hugs Brandy, he hugs the bear, well, he goes to hug the bear, and the bear pushes him on his ass, and the entire crowd are like, what the fuck? And so the bear slowly takes off his hat, and I was like, I knew it was a fucking wrestler. I knew it was. Who is it? And it's fucking Kenny Omega. And that entire place lost their fucking shit. As did I. I'm not even going to deny that one. They lost their absolute fucking shit. Cody hits a V-trigger, and still in this bear suit with a t-shirt on, might add. And then he's being all cute, doing bear-like fucking movements, mascot movements. It's cute as hell. So then Brandy gets in, and Brandy's pushing him, and she's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. Are you going to hit a woman? Because she's pushing him, and he's like, no, I'm not. To which then she slaps him, grabs his face, and then kisses him. And I don't know what's going on in this marriage at the moment as to why they're really obsessed with Kota and Kenny, and why they keep kissing them. I'm not sure what's going on, but I don't hate it either. It's one of my favourite storylines in wrestling right now. So then she screams at him to go tell Kota that he kissed her and asked him, what's Kota going to think? And Kenny just looks so confused, like completely, and it was, further in storylines, obviously, because at Supercard Honor, I'm sure, they're facing each other, so Kenny was over and was wearing a bear suit, and yeah, and then, like, not on this show, but later on like Twitter and stuff, Cody was losing his mind about the fact that Kenny kissed his wife, and it's not what happened at all, but they're crazy. Like, probably certifiably, their characters obviously, but it's just, yeah. I think because nobody was expecting Kenny to show up at all, to see him then in a bear suit, to know that he'd been there the entire match, and to, like, in my head I was like, maybe it's Marty, or like, maybe, like, I didn't expect it to be one of the Bucks, but I was like, it could be anybody, like, it's just what, it might be Flip, it's just somebody in a bear suit, it's a wrestler in a bear suit, but like, it's fucking Kenny Omega, and I fangirled the fuck out. But yeah. So that happened. And then, so, second last match of the night. And again, I was like, how is it going to get any more hype than this? And so we went, and it was the Briscoes versus Motor City Machine Guns for the tag title match. And I love these two tag teams, like, more and more every time I see them, but for the last 10 years, these have been two of my favourite tag teams, period. If not, like, for a hot while there, like, it was flip-flop between the two of them, depending on if I was watching ROH or TNA that day. It's not even TNA anymore, but you know what I mean. And I flipping love them, and the great thing is right now, is the Briscoes are, like, heel as heels as the heelest of heels, and Motor City Machine Guns have always been so face, but because of the levels of, like, the Briscoes keep saying, this isn't personal against Jews, we just want our titles back, and it got to the point where even the Motor City Machine Guns, before this started, like, before the match, like in previous episodes and stuff, even that had got them to the point that on the last ROH TV episode, they were choking them, choking out the Briscoes with chains. It's just something that a babyface tag team doesn't do unless it gets to this level. And I remember thinking, this is going to be a great match, but I don't know if it's going to be better than the last two matches that we've just seen. I was wrong. So it starts off, the Briscoes come in, and then Mark is hiding. Like, obviously the ramp comes down and then goes like that, and Mark's hiding here while Jay's, like, just walking around. But Sabin comes down, Sabin sees it, and they instantly just start fighting. Everything was, again, really slick and really smooth. And I just love watching wrestling that just flows and it's not choppy or botchy or whatever. And these two teams are such professionals that, and being like such veterans, they've been here for so long that it's so natural, it's beautiful. I love it. So, couple of the spots that were in the match, they had Mark. Sabin had Mark hanging off, almost like Orton's DDT thing off the middle rope, but instead of being off the middle rope, it was off the apron to the outside. And Alex Shelley like stomped on his back, and usually they'll do it on like their bum, but like he properly hurt his back, and I was like, oh, that's not good. Obviously he didn't like stomp on it, he done that like little jump, tap toe and roll, to which then Sabin then done this like twisting, almost cross the roads looking thing onto the floor, Kirsty, onto the floor, onto the outside. Mark Briscoe ended up bleeding at some point from that, but again he was checked over and they let the match continue once that he'd had, I think it's Vaseline or something like it that they put on them, and just let them go. But Jay was mad as fuck that they had hurt his brother. Oh, he went off. He went all the way fucking off, and it was beautiful. There were so many false finishes in this where I was like, that's it, 1, 2, 3, and it just wasn't at all. And every one of them got better as a false finish. Like every time you're like, oh, that's not it. It was fantastic. There was a froggy elbow into a Doomsday roll up. That wasn't it. Then there was a Doomsday roll up into a J driller. That wasn't it. There was a couple of, I can't even remember what the Motor City Machine Guns call it now. They had a couple of like really sweet, like fucking almost slippy do things. And yeah, but then the actual finish of the match was a Doomsday that did lead into the Briscoes winning, and 9-time ROH World Champions. Holy shit. Like, 9-time champions, that's an insane amount. Like, considering that this is a company that's been around for 16 years, that's just, but they've been there for so long again, like they've been there since they were babies. And yeah, it was fucking intense. It was an intense match, but I love a good intense match as much as I love my happy-go-lucky shit. Like when it's that intense way, and just, yeah. And they told them that they were going to win again, and I'm really excited to see the rematch whenever that happens, because holy fuck, so good. So then we had the final match of the night, of course. Sorry guys, I'm really not well and I keep getting really dry and I don't want to end up coughing while I'm filming. Match 7, final match of the night, was Dalton Castle, your world champion, versus Jay Lethal for the ROH title. Jay comes out and everything's lovely, just a noble entrance, and then out comes Dalton Castle on some sort of throne looking thing, carried by all of the boys. I think there was 6 or 8 of them, not just your normal 2. And he was all in gold and white, and he just looked regal, and it was beautiful. And I know a lot of people are like, he shouldn't be world champion, he's too flashy. No, he's great, and this match freaking proved it. So it started off, they done the Code of Honour, which I think might have been the first match of the entire night that actually done the Code of Honour. They started off and the two of them were doing like traditional back and forth wrestling, and because obviously the two of them have like that kind of I know Dalton does anyway, but he tried to set up the bangarang really fucking early on, and like obviously the way the commentary were putting it over was Dalton can hit the bangarang out of just about anywhere, but Jay's plan is usually just to wear people down until he can hit the cutter. So they, so yeah, early on, Bangarang set up, but Jay Lethal, like, he had the most inventive ways of getting out of this Bangarang the entire night. Dalton, obviously Dalton's mind games are always perfect, and I love it. Like, obviously because he has a theatre background and an amateur wrestling background, he was just custom made to be a really fantastic wrestler. Like, I don't know what else he planned on doing with his life, but this is where he belongs. He is fantastically good. But Jay wasn't having any of his mind games. Like, Jay was privy to it the entire night. He was like, nah, you're not going to get me off my game. Like, this is where I thrive as a wrestler, is these big matches. Colt kept side note, Colt kept talking this entire thing. And he had been kind of like, he's always colour commentary anyway, but like anytime Dalton comes out, he just goes full on like JBL heel because of their feud, and he kept like saying these little things but also putting in insight to be like, you shouldn't do that against Dalton because of X, Y and Z. And then like a few minutes later it would happen, and it was just so lovely. It was just really, everything just gelled really nicely together. Dalton, there was a point where Dalton was down and he had been pinned, and he went to kick out at 2 but then stopped. He went to kick out at 1, like just went in, then look, but he rested for a second and then kicked out at 2, and I was like, that was really nice. And again, commentary put it over like absolute champs. There was this really beautiful like Hurricane Rana to the outside of the ring, but then Dalton hurt his knee, and I don't think that it was like a play on I've hurt my knee. I actually think he had twinged his knee a bit, but he managed to continue wrestling on. But you could see, and even as the match went on, you could see that his knee was bothering him a little bit. So I hope that he's okay. I hope that it's nothing like serious and it's just maybe a little sore. But the suplexes, even with his bad knee, because he was doing, obviously he does those Germans that are like delayed and just mwah. But even when he was doing them, as soon as he got the weight above his head and he could fall back, he was lifting his knee up so that there wasn't pressure on it. At one point, Jay literally took Dalton's head and rang the bell with it, and I was like, guys, headshots, stop. But it was pretty funny because the bell actually rang, and the commentary were like, this match isn't over if you just heard the bell ring. That was just what happened. Jay, at one point, Lethal, drop kicked one of the boys into Bobby Cruz, and Bobby Cruz went down. I don't know if it was supposed to happen, but everybody was so concerned. Like, Colt got up at one point and went to check on Bobby Cruz because he was still down, and then came back and apologised for leaving, but like everybody was so concerned. And as he points out, like referees and stuff like are part of that. Like, they expect to be like, take ref bumps and like XYZ, you're in that situation. But he's a ring announcer, man. He's not meant to be part of that. And then at one point, Jay got Dalton up into like a torture rack, and then but he had his hand over his knee and was doing the torture rack thing. I look so silly doing this, but had it over his knee and then the rolling thing out of it. Dalton really seemed to be struggling at that point with his knee, but somehow he managed to recover. There was some beautiful deadlift Germans, even with his bad knee. Some deadlift Germans, even with his bad knee. Even with the bad knee, there were some deadlift Germans, and he throws him over. but at one point he pins him like from the deadlift, and as he bridges, he had to lift his knee up because, again, I don't know if his knee was like hurt a little bit, but then like ran it off and it was okay, and they decided to tell this story, or if it was actually really hurting him. And that's a testament to how good that Dalton Castle is, that I'm sitting going, is it sore? Is it a work? I'm not quite sure. But there was a point round about this point where like Dalton just started to get really fucking aggressive, and I don't know if it was, again, because he was in pain, or if just because he knew that this was a world title match and there has to be really good and then a next gear that you have to kick into at some point. But the aggression was so good. There was a lethal injection that was blocked, a bangerang, and a figure. There was a bangerang, this is what I'm talking about. So it goes for the bangerang, and somehow Jay manages to twist himself round and then get Dalton into a figure four, which was amazing. And obviously with his knee, the storytelling in it. But he manages to get the bottom rope to get the break, because he can't get out. Like, he can't kick out or like kick his way or hit his way out because his knee's hurting. He just has to reach and pray. But like that kick, like when so then he gets up on his bad knee, and then a lethal injection's hot, and I went, fuck, that's it. But then no, he somehow still manages to kick out. Jay's starting to get really frustrated at this point as well, and just starts chopping him in the fucking throat. Jay Lethal, Jesus. And then he does this weird baseball slide thing into this, but Jay does a baseball slide out into the, like, onto the floor. Why am I struggling with the word floor today, guys? He does a baseball slide out into the floor off of the ropes, and then there was this really horrible, like, so he gets up and does like a German off of the apron, and Jay lands on like his neck, and it just looked like disgustingly vile. I've literally wrote in my notes, is Jay Lethal okay? Again, I haven't heard anything yet, but like, so praying, but fuck me, did that look bad. Both men at this point are wobbly and just like slapping at each other, and it went on. I think they got about half an hour, and they were just slapping at each other and just fucking, they were so tired. Both of them were probably hurt. His neck was hurt, his knee was hurting, and they just put everything into this match, and it was so lovely. So then they're slapping each other, and then Dalton, out of absolutely fucking nowhere, hits a bangerang. It was a lovely one as well, considering the bad knee and everything, to get his leg up, and that's how he retains his ROH World Title in this match. I just remember the bell ringing and going, wow. I've actually wrote down, you don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I've wrote somewhere there, and it just says just fucking wow. Literally. So then the match is over, and Jay gets up, and like Dalton's in the corner, kind of like not putting weight on his knee, and Jay gets up and like starts like squaring up to him and like putting his head against his head, and I'm like, oh shit. But then he just kind of stares at the title, nods and shakes his hand and leaves. Again, code of honour for the world title matches. The only one that done it the entire night. So then I'm like, wow, what a pay-per-view. But then out comes Marty Scurll, and he just starts, like, he slides in the ring and he's clapping, and he's like, what a match. But then he just points at the title and says that it's his turn next. And I was like, he didn't attack him, he didn't hit him, he didn't do anything. He just came out and declared that because he'd bet Punishment Martinez, who had won the tournament to get a world title shot, that actually it's my turn to next. And that's where it ends. And again, what I love about ROH is they always make it sound urgent. They're like, Ian Riccaboni was like, we're going to be on Honor Club with some like post pay-per-view stuff. But as of right now, we're running out of time, so we'll see you later. And was like all hype, and I love that. Like, I know WWE used to do it in WWF and everywhere else, but I feel as if it's something that's missing now. Everything in a lot of places just feels too, we know what's happening, this is the end, goodbye. But ROH have got a really good habit of just making it seem as if, oh my god, we're running out of time, this is really happening. It's just little things like that that make me love this company. But anyway, that was 16th anniversary, probably in like an hour. I'll try and not make it that long and try and edit something out. But just, hot damn people, what a fucking pay-per-view. I loved this pay-per-view. Don't ask me what my favourite match of the night was, because I don't know. I still don't know. We're like a day and a half out. It was just all round with a little bow on top. Amazing. And again, how do they top this for Super Card of Honor on WrestleMania weekend? It's one of their biggest shows. I mean, I know they've got Cody versus Kenny, which is going to be incredible. But how do they, like, how as wrestlers do they just keep pumping out amazing quality matches? Like, I don't understand it. But I'm so happy that they do. So, but yeah, guys, with all of that said, I'm Kirsty. You can find me on WrestlingWithWrestling.com in the ROH section, where I belong. You can also find me on Smacked Up Wrestling Live on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter and stuff. That'll be somewhere roundabout or down here. Leave me a comment, come talk to me on Twitter, tell me what your favourite things were, and until some other crazy thing happens in ROH, I'll see you guys later.